And we say good evening to you. Welcome aboard. We are live, the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. We got it packed up and ready to go for you over the next, right at 2 hours of action. We are loaded for bear. High school football, college football. It's a big weekend, of course, as the high school are winding things down, getting ready for the playoffs. Not that far away, and in fact, in 2 weeks, we crank up the playoffs. So week number 9 of high school football, week number, 7 or 8 of college football. So it's here. We've got lots to talk about. We're going to be joined a little bit later in the show by Doug Fritz, the sports writer of the Johnson City Press, and all the high school football games he's going to preview for you. He will preview, what we got? We got Crockett and Boone, the Musket Bowl, Sullivan, South Elizabeth, and he'll tell you about Cloudland, Johnson County, Sullivan North, Sullivan East, Cherokee at Tennessee High. Also, you have Unicoi County, or the Union County, hosting Sullivan Central, and Happy Valley at West Green. He'll talk about those. This man right here, our co-host Dave Angie, will talk about the Region 1 6A preview games for tomorrow night. Hardin Valley at Bearden, Morristown West at Dobbins Bennett. Right down the road, Science Hill plays their final regular season game with a bye week next week. They'll host tomorrow night Jefferson County. Later on in the show, Chris McCall will give us a preview of the Virginia Tech Hokies. The Hokies in North Carolina. Carmichael, top 5 college football games of the week, and he'll break those down with Dave Angie. Those two will visit coming up later in the show. We'll wrap things up. I'll check in with Kevin Harmon, and I don't know what you say about a Tennessee team that's a 35-point underdog heading to Tuscaloosa on Saturday, but they got to go and play the game, and that's why they played the game. But that's all coming up a little bit later on. We'll be joined by Andy Dietrich, course co-owner of Champion Chevrolet. Maybe the beauty will come in, the birthday girl, Kristen Martin. Maybe she'll stop by and talk to us. I've been watching her. She's out bebopping. We got lots of traffic here on the lot on this Thursday evening, beautiful Thursday. And so to my left is the man who is in the doghouse today, our buddy Dave Angie, the co-host of the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Not in my doghouse. I think he does a phenomenal job, but his daughter, not happy with her daddy. Good evening, my friend. What's going on?
Well, man, I'll tell you. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Went home on my lunch break today, had a mug of coffee, went to go try to sit down at the coffee table, which it is a coffee table. So you should drink coffee at it. That's the way I would understand it. But we had a half done puzzle on that thing that my daughter and I have been working on for like 3 weeks or so.
How many pieces?
About 1,500.
1,500 piece jigsaw puzzle. Okay.
And I sit down and I got butterfingers, and I fumbled. So spilled coffee all over it. Had to throw away the 1,500 pieces and then explain it to my daughter when she got off the bus today. So she's I think she's gonna do that old football coach trick on me, where she's gonna get the duct tape and duct tape the mug into my hand, and I can just carry it around, through life until I learn not to fumble. That's what they do in football. So I may be dealing with that.
So you've been working this puzzle for 3 weeks?
We have, man. It's
wow.
I was telling you about the sky pieces. If anybody's done puzzles, they're all blue. They all look the same. It takes you a while to figure that out. Now that's all down the drain. So back starting over. We're gonna have to get another puzzle out and get rolling. So
little tense at the Angie house tonight, apparently. So
it was. She's at a birthday party now though, so she's eating pizza and bouncing around. Hopefully she'll forget about it. I'll be off the hook. We'll see.
She'll come home, just kind of the motor will run out, the sugar fix. She'll come off that sugar high and go to bed.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And you'll dodge a bullet.
After a night of sleep, I might be out of the doghouse.
There you go. Let's take a look real quick. Again, good evening. Thanks for being with us. Like us and share us. Well, thank you for that. Let's run down. Again, the new format is the old format. The top 4 teams will go in each region. Again, 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and of course single A. Top 4 go. Top 2 are home, 1 and 2, and then seeds in 3 and 4 will travel. Going into the action tomorrow night, in 6A, we'll start there. Knox Farragut, Science Hill tied at 4-1. Dobbins Bennett at 3-1. Hardin Valley at 2-2. You got to throw Knox Bearden into the fray, and I guess Morristown West, they're 1-3. So I would think pretty much the top 2, probably the top 3 are set. We'll figure out how it ends up next week after the final week of the regular season. But safe to say, Farragut, Science Hill, and DB are in.
Yeah, I think there really was some separation. We talked about that last week going into those games, that if the favored teams won, it would really provide some cushion there. If you're a 4-1 or 3-1 football team at this point in time, you got to feel good about your playoff chances, because you have that top 4 is going to be pretty well locked in. Now you're playing for that home game like we talked about. Really important. When you have 3 teams with 1 loss, it looks like we're coming down to a scenario where there's going to be tiebreakers and everything else. And, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for whoever that third team is, provided they all finish with one loss, and you have to go on the road in the playoffs, even though it's kind of a scenario where everybody beat everybody. It's going to make it tough, but that just shows it's kind of it's been even at the top of that league. Those three really good football teams, about anybody can beat anybody depending on how it all shakes out. I think Dobyns Bennett really has been a much improved team as the season's gone on. The win over Farragut was really impressive and kind of shook up that whole title race in that conference.
Changed everything. Farragut has the week off, by the way. I guess the marquee matchup, we'll let you talk a little bit later on about this. Hardin Valley at Bearden. Hardin Valley at 2-2 in the league. Bearden at 1-3 on an outside. One of those is going to go. And Morristown West still kind of in the fray. I guess the only team that's eliminated themselves is Jeff County. They're 0-4. So that's the 6A. 5A football looks like this. Daniel Boone and the Catbird seat at 4-0. Tennessee High 4-1. Crockett at 3-1. Of course, the Musket Bowl tomorrow night. Boone versus Crockett. Cherokee at 2-2 and Morristown East at 2-2. So out of those four, I would say Boone, Tennessee High are pretty much in, and I guess Crockett and Cherokee are in too, right?
Yeah, Boone and Tennessee High early in the season. Boone gets the best of Tennessee High in that game, and that could be all the difference in the world right there. Boone and Crockett, I expect that to be a good game, huge game when you look at playoff implications. Tennessee High could get back in the title race. If Crockett wins that one, it kind of puts it in the same scenario that 6A is, because you'd have 3 one-loss teams, which would really shake things up a great deal. Boone with a win there, if they can move themselves to 5-0, man, they're really in the driver's seat in that situation. I expect a great football game. I just love what I'm hearing out of Washington County right now. Both those schools really just coming together. Boone kind of picking Crockett up a little bit, the week leading up to the game. And they all say, once that ball is kicked off and it's toe to leather, it's going to be competition. But nice to see the sense of community down there as Crockett goes through a rough time.
Well, I got to give credit to Nick Lingerfeld. This young man, again, the third coach in 3 weeks at Crockett. Gerald Sensabaugh, Brandon Qualls, and now Nick Lingerfeld was appointed the interim coach, not getting any financial money for this at all. He said, here's what we've come down to. If you forfeit the season, kids voted on Monday whether to keep the season going. They did, obviously, and I think it's a great move. If the season shuts down, then the TSSAA steps in, and then you talk about sanctions, and you talk about penalties for next year. If you remember last year, Unaca's basketball team or football team shut down their season, and so the Brain Trust, use that loosely, the TSSAA decided to penalize the basketball program. Why would you do that? But Unaca's officials went to Lebanon, Tennessee, and pleaded their case, and they reversed it. So Lingerfeld says, hey, look, if Crockett stops the football season, we're going to get in trouble with the TSSAA. He said, so I'm going to step up and, I'm going to coach this football team. I'll do it for 2 games or 3 games, however long they're going to go. Hopefully for them, I guess they want to go about 6 games all the way to the state championship in 5A football. But he said, I'm going to step up and make it happen. So kudos to Nick Lingerfeld. Never met the young man, but he just came over from Dobyns Bennett in the summer as the new baseball coach because of our buddy, and I just went totally blank. I can see his face. Gosh, you just stepped down. The baseball coach been there for years and years and years.
Hagee, yeah.
Thank you. Scott Hagee stepped away, retired. So Lingerfeld comes on as the baseball coach. And again, as we said, I'll do the football. I'll do whatever I got to do to keep this program from going down, which is a testament to the kids, because all these kids have been going through 2-a-days and the practices. And, let's look and see. They're a 5-3 football team after 8 games, so they've earned it. Or whether they're 0-8, they've earned it. You don't want to turn your season down. Can you imagine being a senior at Crockett on the football team and going, 10 years now going, yeah, we were the team and we canceled the rest of our season. So, Again, Nick Lingerfeld, I applaud you for what you've done to keep this thing going at Crockett. So whether they get blown out tomorrow night, they win the game, whatever. I'm like you. I think it was a nice kind of a settling situation for Nick Lingerfeld down at Crockett.
Yeah, definitely. And if I'm not mistaken, he was a freshman football coach over there, at least helped out in some capacity with the football program. So, but he's brought in some folks too, some assistants there that are really going to kind of run this deal and keep it going. And he's said before he has no designs on coaching football in the fall and baseball in the spring. But yeah, just stepped in and keeping this thing going, and good for them. And I think all Musket Bowls tend to be really competitive games, and a lot of them are highly entertaining. I think this one will be too, because Crockett throws the ball all over the place, and that's something Boone's going to really have to deal with that. And then again, Boone's got the ground game going that Crockett's going to have to deal with. So there's going to be some points on the board. I think it's going to be a great celebration of football out there in Gray, and it should be a crisp evening. Should feel like fall football, playoff football, and definitely a huge game when you look at the playoff implications.
Great weather tomorrow night. I checked the forecast for next week. Whole different story. Along about Wednesday, it's going to drop like a rock. It's going to be in the 50s for your highs and 30s for your lows here in the immediate Tri-Cities. So next Friday night for week number 10, a whole different story. But again, for tomorrow night, beautiful weather for football. And again, it's the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Again, don't forget, right here at Champion Chevrolet, the #1 Chevy dealer in the state, you walk through these doors and immediately $11,000 off the sticker on a 2017 Silverado Crew Cab All-Star pick-em-up truck. Incredible. 11 grand right off the sticker. And of course, Tim always says on the commercial, we leave you asking, how do they do that? How do you walk through the doors and have $11,000 off MSRP? They do it here and only here at Champion Chevrolet. Also, championjc.com is the website to go to. Our buddy Dave Angie, 4A football. You got Greenville 4-0, Elizabethton 4-1. I'm sorry, South 4-1, Elizabethton 3-1, Granger 2-2, Sullivan East 2-3. I think Central and Union County are out there 0-4. So Greenville, South, Elizabethton, Granger, maybe East on the outside looking in, but I guess it's right now those four teams: Greenville, South, Elizabethton, and Granger.
Yeah, I think it is, and we're going to see some separation this week. I think when Elizabethton and South play each other, I think Elizabethton gets the better end of that one. So then you're kind of looking at Elizabethton and Greenville being the home teams, which I think going into the season, that's what everybody expected. I expect if the Cyclones take care of business this Friday night, that'll be the way it shakes out, and you'll have South, which good, that's a great story right there, because they've been out of the playoffs, and the injury bug bit them really hard, especially at the quarterback position. This year they've enjoyed a healthy season. Good for those folks. That's a great football community out there, great place to go watch and cover football, and they look like they have a playoff team on their hands this year.
South had gone to the playoffs 15 straight years and been out of the playoffs for 2 years. They're back in, so a great job of first-year coach Justin Hilton. His nickname is Smiley, and he's smiling right now in Colonial Heights for sure. 3A football, Johnson County ranked in the state a solid number 3 in 3A football statewide. They are 4-0. Unicoi County, what a turnaround for that football program, 3-1. West Green 3-1. Chucky Doak and Claiborne each at 1-3. So I guess it's Johnson County, Unicoi County, West Green, and I mean it's toss them up in the bag and shake them out. It could be Chucky Doak, Claiborne, or North Green, and that fourth team.
Yeah, it's going to be somebody by default there in the fourth playoff spot. But you talk about the top three really good football teams. I've been impressed with Johnson County. This is a special group of kids, and I think everybody could feel it building from the time those guys were in middle school, up into high school, and they all stuck together. They've done their job, and they're off to an 8-0 start, 4-0 in the league. And you mentioned Unicoi County there. Of course, West Green, I think, had a win over them last week, so that puts them at both 3-1, and that could leave Unicoi County as the team that might be traveling, with one loss in the league if everybody wins out. So it'll be fun to see how that all works out there. But yeah, definitely some good football being played out of the top three teams in that league.
2A football, Sullivan North at 4-0, Happy Valley 2-1, South Green 1-2, Hampton 1-2, and Cosby 0-3. So they only have 5 teams to start with. So you got 4 out of the 5 going. So right now you would have to say North, Happy Valley, South Green, and Hampton are going.
Yeah, definitely so. And Sullivan North, man, that great job out there by Robbie Norris as usual. I love their brand of football. That's kind of what I grew up on. I just love watching them line up and run it on people. And by the fourth quarter, it's like when Ric Flair gets somebody in that figure 4 leg lock. The opposition's tapping out by the fourth quarter, and I've seen it happen a million times. Covered a lot of football over there in North, and a lot of great food in that press box, if I remember correctly. A lot of good hospitality there, but normally I'm stuffed with food by the fourth quarter, and the opponent's out there gasping for air because North's running the ball up and down the field. So, yeah, definitely some good football being played there. Happy Valley as well, and we've talked about it before. What a great coaching staff they have there at Happy Valley, and what a good job they've done losing so many key contributors off last year's team, and they don't miss a beat hardly this year. They look like they're a playoff team again, and they've really got something building over there.
Single A, everybody goes. Only 4 teams in Region 1A: Cloudland, Jellicoe, Hancock County, and Unaka. Obviously, right now the top 2, and they're going to be that way. Cloudland and Jellicoe are the top 2. Hancock County and Unaka will travel, but everybody goes since there's only 4 teams in Region 1A football. So that's kind of the tale of the tape, if you will. Tonight, Unaka plays at Hampton, as a matter of fact, a Thursday night game. Tomorrow night, Hardin Valley at Bearden, Jellicoe at Cosby, Claiborne at Cumberland Gap, the Musket Bowl, Crockett at Boone and Gray, Morristown West at Dobbins Bennett, Elizabethton, final home game of the year in the regular season, hosting Sullivan South, Granger at Greenville, Rockwood and Hancock County. Johnson County hosting Cloudland. Cobb County, Morristown East. Twin Springs, Virginia crossing the state line to play North Green. Jefferson County down the road to take on Stacy Carter's Science Hill Hilltoppers in their final game of the season. They get a bye week next week. Sullivan North at Sullivan East. Cherokee at Tennessee High. Sullivan Central at Union County. Happy Valley at West Green. In Virginia tomorrow night, Abington at Ridgeview. Castlewood at J.I. Burton. Eastside at Chilhowie. Gate City, the Blue Devils at John Battle. Lehigh at Wise Central. Twin Valley at Rye Cove. And open day tomorrow night is Union and Thomas Walker. Science Hill, open date the last week of the regular season. Like that or not like that?
To me, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, when you think about it, because for years and years, that last date on the calendar, that's your biggest game of the year. Now you have no game. You know, for me, that man, that's going to take a while to get used to. You know, it's amazing. And we were talking the other day. I was talking with some folks about Dobyns Bennett and how they've built as the season's gone on. It would be really intriguing this year for them to play Week 10, because DB's just gotten better as the year's gone on, and you know, of course, you got Science Hill, who's playing some good football themselves. So, but they'll be sitting home, and I'm sure they won't mind kind of resting up, getting some of those bumps and bruises taken care of, and be a healthy team going to the playoffs. Now, what you worry about, you have kind of an offense that depends a lot on rhythm. Do you keep that rhythm through the off week? And you know, hopefully they end up in a situation, it looks like they will, where they're going to have a home playoff game to start, you know, which gives you an advantage there to kind of get back into it and get rolling into the playoffs.
I wouldn't want to stop the momentum, so I would not be in favor of the 10th week being off. And plus, as you're right, they played week number 3 or week number 2, week number 3, Dobyns Bennett. So, well, there's the man right there, the Mr. Copenhaver's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. But you know, Dobyns Bennett's gotten much, much better over the season thanks to Graham and his staff, and the kids buying into the system, of course. So I'm not sure if I was Stacy, I'd want to be playing him right now, but I think you're probably right. So, but I guess what I'm looking at is you go every day, you got the practice, got the routine, and boom, all of a sudden you just stop cold turkey. Yes, you get a chance to get these guys kind of rested up and maybe got some nicks and bangs at this point in the season, but again, you play 9 and now you get a week off and you got to rev back up for the playoffs. And of course, Science Hill looks like they're going to be at home the way things are looking, but that's not guaranteed either. But anyway, if you're asking me, as a coach, I don't like Week 10 being an open date for me.
Well, here's the counterpoint to that too, is you get a little pause there. You can put some wrinkles in maybe you didn't have during the regular season. Maybe, you know, as your coaches, you go on and you kind of see what you have personnel wise. Maybe you have some younger kids who've kind of matured and are ready to take on bigger roles, and you see places you can put them on the field to make some plays, but it's hard to do when you're doing game prep every single week and you're preparing for an opponent. So maybe now during the bye week you start adding some wrinkles in and say, you know, if we run a counter off of this to set that up, you know, and then you can really come out sharp that way. You know, so you know, with high school kids, it's hard to tell. You know, it's one day to the next, and any coach will tell you, you know, there's a reason they have gray hairs, because you know, it doesn't take much, you know, with high school kids for things to go a little bit sideways. So you know, who knows how it's going to work out, but it is what it is, and they're going to try to make the best of it. So they're going to put a positive spin on it, and the positive spin is that they're going to be rested going into that first round.
We look before we go to the break. Here's some individual leaders right now around the area. The 1,000-yard rushers, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 6 have already hit the 1,000-yard mark, just going into week number 9 tomorrow night, which is very impressive. Jordan Coffey of Cloudland, 14:46. Jacob Bunch from Granger. I watched this kid run a couple of times this season. Man, he is a bruiser. 1,380 yards for Birch. Jalen Adams, Science Hill, 12:07. Hunter Davenport from Hampton High School, 1,092. Ethan Ward of Sullivan South, 1,089. Ian Hicks of Dobyns Bennett, 1,058. And right on the cusp, Meek Watterson of Science Hill with 897, and Corey Russell of Elizabeth with 815. So you got to figure certainly 2 more games for Russell and 1 more game for Watterson that he'll crack the 1,000-yard mark. Of course, this is regular season, and with the playoffs, you get a chance to add to that, and the yards count into the playoffs as well. Passing leaders right now, Cade Larkins, Dave Angie, 2,119 yards passing at Crockett. That is phenomenal, and throw that in with 16 touchdown passes, and this kid's the deal for the Crockett Pioneers. Yeah,
definitely, and that's why, you know, talking about the Musket Bowl, that's what gives them a chance, a puncher's chance in that game, because, man, they throw it downfield. You know, and Boone, and that's not to take anything away from them, they had a real young group of receivers and defensive backs this year. They have a lot of kids that go both ways. and they're very talented, a talented group. So they may well be able to shut down Crockett's passing game. But, you're going to have some, kids that are reasonably young back there, some of them inexperienced, having to chase down those Crockett receivers with the football in the air from a kid throwing the ball down the field. That shows that he can complete long passes, and that in high school, if you got a guy that's pretty accurate 20, 30 yards down the field, that really stretches your defense out, and that's gonna make the game interesting.
So let's look out of fairness to all the young men. Cade Larkins, 21-19. Carter Everett Elizabethan, 1,657 yards passing. Lyndon Redwine Dobbinsman at 1,630. Cade Ballard Greenville, 1,539 yards passing. John Ramsey Unaka, 1,531. Jalen Adams of Science Hill, 1,345. So Mr. Adams has rushed for 1,207. He's passed for 1,345. And that's like Malik Magoo numbers from a couple of years back. Nathan Arnold from Johnson County, 1,203. Brock Thompson, Unicoi County, with 1,007. And right there on the bubble, you got to feel like he's going to get the 1,000 yards before it's said and done this season. Noah Shelton, Daniel Boone, 911 yards passing. Peyton Robinson of Sullivan North, 875. And Ethan Ward of Sullivan South, 836. Certainly within reach of a 1,000-yard passing season. Yards receiving. Let's go on the other end. Who's catching these balls? Top 5, Blake Isaacs of Unaka, 730. Seth Crawford, Greenville, 635. John Colley of Crockett, 593. Ryan Wetzel, Elizabethan, 553 yards receiving. Evan Perkins, Elizabethan, 516. And Devin Jarrett of Unaka at 515. So got some guys not quite at 1,000 yards receiving, but I think Isaacs has a pretty good shot at 730 if it continues catching that ball from John Ramsey to get 1,000 yards receiving.
Man, I'll tell you, and that's the thing about Unaka is they'll sling it. That Ramsey kid, and he reminded me a tiny bit of Jared Lorenzen when he was at Kentucky. I'm not saying the kid, he's not overweight, but man, he is a stocky kid. He's hard to take down. He looks like one of the linemen. He's a big, thick kid, and man, he's got a great arm. He throws it, and they had some success. They got a win last week. Unaka finally did. They've been in some football games this year, very close. Finally get a win last week, and it was basically Ramsey throwing that ball downfield, and I think he threw for over 300 yards in that game. And big performance there. I'm really a big fan of what they're doing up there at Unaka right now. Got a new coach in. Really breathed a lot of life into that program, and played a tough schedule, but definitely seeing some benefits. You talk about Shelton too. That's the other kid I want to mention from Daniel Boone. He's run the ball so well this year, but the big thing about him, the decision making. He knows when to throw the ball, he knows when to tuck it in and run, and he's also doing a much better job this year of avoiding the big hits, knowing when to get out of bounds, knowing when to slide, and just a great senior leader. And he's led them to a lot of wins and a chance to lead them to a league championship this year. Just another special player.
Doug Fritz joins us coming up in just a few minutes to get the high school football preview, all the games around Northeast Tennessee that he and Dave Angiu will deem important, coming up here in a few minutes. A little bit later in the show, we'll hear from Chris McCall previewing the Hokies and the North Carolina Tar Heels on Saturday afternoon at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg. Before we go to the break, defensive leaders, your tackle leader right now in the area, Owen Nicholson, Unicoi County, 120. Bryson Street of Unaka, 110. Michael Smith, Unicoi County, 109. Hayden Osborne, Johnson County, 102. Dakota Cochran of Happy Valley with 102 tackles. Tyler Norris of Johnson County with 86, and Arthur James of Science Hill with 86 in the tackle department. These are all compliments, by the way, of Doug and his staff at the Johnson City Press. Tackles for loss, Michael Smith and Zach Taylor. Smith from Unicoi County. Taylor, he's got to be good. Zach Taylor from Daniel Boone with 14. Austin Cox, Daniel Boone, 13 tackles for loss. Peyton Nichols, Daniel Boone, and Matthew Hatcher, Unicoi County with 11 each. And then you have the 10 with 10 tackles for loss. Cujo, Cameron Coleman of Elizabethan, Jacques Gillespie Taylor of Greenville, Austin Odell, Unicoi County, Shane Armstrong, Unicoi County. Again, these guys all have at least double digits in tackles for loss. In the sack department, Riley Grills by himself with 12 at Sullivan South. And the interception leader, Shane Austin of Science Hill, Seth Crawford of Greenville, Matt Diminick of Dobbinsville, all with 4. And the fumble recovery leader continues to be in this area, along with Dalton McLean of Greenville, Zach Copenhaver of Science Hill. I think we know his daddy. He has 3 fumble recoveries, and so that's the tell of the tape, statistically speaking, with individuals here in Northeast Tennessee. Quick break. We'll be right back, and Dave Angiu will hook up and visit and talk and have a big time with our dear friend Doug Fritz. He joins us coming up next here, the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Don't forget, right here at Champion Chevrolet, they have the 2017 Chevrolet Malibus. 23% off the sticker on a 2017 Malibu and a 2017 Cruze. So when you walk through these doors, it's an immediate 23% off the sticker MSRP on a 2017 Cruze and a 2017 Malibus here at Champion Chevrolet. Doug Fritz, Johnson City Press, talks to Dave Angie next year on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Blue Lizard Australian Sunscreen originated in Australia, where sunscreen standards are the strictest in the world. Although our products are now manufactured here in the U.S., we continue to adhere to the most stringent Australian standards to offer the best in broad-spectrum sun protection. Blue Lizard, the brand most recommended by pediatricians and dermatologists. Our smart bottle turns blue in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. You bring the sun, Blue Lizard brings the magic.
Truck Month continues at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City with unbelievable savings on a selection of over 500 new Chevys to choose from. 17 Silverado Crew Cab All-Star, $11,000 off MSRP. 18 Equinox, $6,000 off MSRP. 18 Trax, $4,500 off MSRP. 23% off 17 Cruze and Malibu. 25% off 17 Sonic and Spark LS. Shop us online 24/7 and remember our Saturday parts and service hours. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where we leave you asking, how do they do that?
Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue. Do you like pulled pork? At Phil's, the pulled pork is cooked low and slow. We cook it all night, but we serve it fast. Our pulled pork is hickory smoked, tender and juicy. We serve the pork either as a sandwich on a bun or platter style with garlic toast. And don't forget to try our pork wings. They taste like a cross between ham and our sweet ribs. It comes as a meal, as an add-on, or part of our meat sampler platters. Pulled pork and pork wings. Just two great reasons to stop by Phil's Dream Pit. Eastern Star exit off I-26, 349-6437. Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at fca.org.
Welcome back to the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview. We're going to check in this week with Doug Fritz, as we do every week, to talk about the big high school games in the area. Doug, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Real excited about the list of games this week. Looks like a lot of fun ones on there, a lot of really good matchups. And, we get to this time of year, there's a lot of playoff implications, definitely. Looking at the Musket Bowl right now, you look at the standings there in 5A. You got a Boone team with no losses. You got Crockett behind them with one loss. It could really shake things up if Crockett finds a way to win this one, and just a good old-fashioned rivalry game.
It certainly is, and these teams are fairly well matched talent-wise. You'll have some people say Crockett's got a little more talent. Some people say Boone has a little more talent, but when you line them up and go out there and play, I think it's going to be a fairly even match in that regard. And I guess the difference is, how did Crockett prepare this week? Was their preparation good? Or was their preparation disjointed? And that's nothing against Nick Lingerfeld, but it's just hard to just take over a ship. And, if you were out there at sea and somebody, gave you control of the ship, would you be able to navigate it safely home? So that's what he's tasked with. And that to me, looking at it from the outside in and looking at the way this thing could go, that's the toughest part for Crockett.
Yeah, obviously Boone's ground game, with what they've done, especially Shelton, he can run it, he can throw it. I mean, that creates a lot of challenges on opposing defenses. But looking at Crockett's offense against Boone's defense, I think the intriguing matchup is, Crockett's receivers and their downfield passing game against a talented group of Boone defensive backs. But, the group's talented, but they're kind of young and came into the season kind of inexperienced. That's the area right there, I think, where there might be some concern on behalf of the Boone fans is Crockett being able to really throw the ball downfield and make some big plays that way.
Well, Crockett had 2 kids that combined for 26 catches last week, was just, phenomenal. And, and one of those wasn't John Colley. So, Crockett's got some threats. They've got the capability, like you said, of making plays that way. And that's, that's their path to the upset, I think, is that they just let Larkins air it out. He threw it 61 times last week. I think if he threw it 50 this week, I think that may be Crockett's best path. I don't think they're going to line up and play smash mouth and run it right down Boone's throat. So, but you still got to get your defense off the field. And Jeremy Jenkins through the years has been a master at, having his team, control, get the tempo where he wants it, whether it's a little fast or a little slow, and this year or that year or whatever. And that's going to be Crockett's biggest challenge, is to make plays on defense.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, and I would imagine, of course, Jeremy Jenkins is really comfortable lining up, running the football, and he's got the personnel to do that, I believe. It looks like it might be the type of game where you see Boone kind of line up and just try to run it down Crockett's throat and really control that, the time of possession, and keep Larkins over there on the sidelines.
Well, that's especially true if Charlie Cole's able to play, and with a hamstring injury, it's probably, going to go along through here. I expect he'll get some snaps, and if they have him and Shelton and Munger back there, I think that, that's going to be really tough for Crockett, and I think Boone would win the time of possession battle, and then when you're on offense, if that happens, you can't make any mistakes, because, you get down 7-0, they've eaten up half the quarter, you turn it over, and they get it back and eat up the rest of the quarter, and now you're 14-0, the whole quarter's gone. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to another big game with playoff implications, and looking down here in 3A, we have South heading over to Elizabethton, and it's a situation here where, with a win, Elizabethton really puts themselves on that inside track to get a home playoff game, and obviously a lot on the line this week against South.
Well, that's it. I mean, the winner of this game's going to be at home for the playoffs. I mean, it's cut and dry, because even if Elizabethton did beat South, they got Central next week, and they'll be a prohibitive favorite in that one. So, it's a game where Elizabethton's favored. It's a game where South wants to prove something, and South's done great every game this year except for one. And that was the Greenville game, and they got beat 56-7. Then the next week, Elizabethton plays them 3-3 at halftime and 24-10 against Greenville. So your comparative scores would suggest Elizabethton has an edge, but Elizabethton has to deal with coming off that loss, a game that they, were starting to think they could win. So, and Ethan Ward can be an equalizer. He's such a good playmaker at the quarterback position for South. So interesting battle there, and it'll be interesting to see how Elizabethton bounces back.
Yeah, you talk about the interesting battle, and matchups are a big part of it. I mean, comparative scores, especially in the high school game, you can go off of those a lot of times and be pretty accurate in knowing what's going to happen. But, I guess football is kind of one of those sports where, the individual matchups, sometimes a team, can give, South might be able to give Elizabethton a little more trouble than they gave Greenville. Are there any matchups from the Elizabethton side looking at South? What is it the Rebels do that kind of gives Elizabethton some concern?
Well, it's just that Ward has the ball in his hands, and he's pretty slick with it, and he does a lot of read plays where he'll keep it, or he'll have run pass option, and so it's kind of one of those things. Though Elizabethton kind of got some practice last week against Cade Ballard, so I think Elizabethton's prepared for that from that standpoint, and South's avenue to victory would be for Ward to just have a tremendous ball game. I mean, that doesn't mean everything rests and falls on him, but if he doesn't play well, South doesn't have a lot of other directions they can go. So it starts with him, and that's where Elizabethton's concern and focus is going to be.
Yeah, we've been doing this here for almost 2 months, and I don't think I've stumped you yet with a question. I might be able to stump you right now, though. If you were to get in a car up in Roan Mountain, how would you go about getting to Mountain City?
How would I go from Roan Mountain to Mountain City? Well,
Yes.
I'd use that new 4-lane expressway that they just recently built. They built it kind of. It's 4 lanes, and there's all kinds of new restaurants and stuff up through there, and hotels, and there's a vacation getaway up there, and an amusement park.
It's the best kept secret in the Southeast, I would imagine.
Now, if I'm going from Roan Mountain to Mountain City, I've never done that before. So the only thing I can think of is coming all the way back down to Hampton, going back up the mountain, and I'm sure that's not the quickest way, but that's the only way I know.
Well, I'll tell you, there's going to be a lot of people making that trip this week because it's a huge ball game when you look at Cloudland, a 7-1 football team, going up there to Mountain City to play an 8-0 Johnson County team, and tremendous group of players there at Johnson County, and but Mike Lunsford, he always in games like this seems to be able to pull something out offensively to give the opposition trouble. It looks like a fun matchup. What do you make of this one?
Well, the problem is that Cloudland played Happy Valley and got nothing done offensively, and because Johnson County and Happy Valley just locked it up and pounded each other, and neither of them was able to do much against the other team's defense, that tells me Johnson County's defense is at least as good as Happy Valley's. And so what's Cloudland going to be able to get done offensively against Johnson County? This is a very strong defensive team with standout players and playmakers on defense, and Hayden Osborne and Tyler Norris and some other guys like that have Jordan Eads King. I mean, these guys have been making plays on defense all year for Johnson County. So I just don't know how Cloudland's going to be effective. They like to hand the ball off to Jordan Coffey. They like to get him up close to that 30-carry mark and get him up into the high 100s in yards rushing, but yards are going to be tough to come by against Johnson County. And then on the flip side, I don't think Cloudland's going to be able to stop Johnson County's offense. Slow them down maybe, but not stop them, and that's where the distance lies in comparing those two teams.
Yeah, really a special Johnson County team. This bunch of kids that's come up together, and everybody was kind of waiting, I think, for this year up there in Mountain City. And there's a lot of expectations on these kids, and I think it says a lot for the coaching staff up there and for the kids that they've really been able to live up to the high expectations the folks up there had for them.
It certainly does, and Don Curley's done a great job up there. And he was, I think he was. People are kind of wondering, hey, what's Don going to do with this program? And he's showing them this year, if I got the talent, I'm playing at the level I'm supposed to be playing at against the type of schools the size of Johnson County, and get some things done, win some football games. And they're having a tremendous year, and they may have some surprises left for people in the playoffs too. So we'll see how all that falls out.
Yeah, definitely be fun to watch there. Sullivan North, Sullivan East. We were talking a little while ago about Coach Norris over there at Sullivan North, and how he's able to just kind of impose his will on opposing teams, and just run the football and tire people out. And definitely a big challenge for Sullivan East, even though they're at home.
It doesn't strike fear in your heart, some of the teams that they've played. Now, they're a very good football team. They've got a good quarterback. They've got a good running back. They've been able to put a lot of points on the board this year. They beat Happy Valley. We all know Happy Valley's a good team, even though they've lost 3 in a row. North got them on the tail end of that. So, but I just think that, Sullivan East, they showed me some stuff this year. They put up 63 in one game, and they've got playmakers, Dylan White. They've got Ethan Whitley. They've got some good running backs, and they've got some guys on defense that can get the job done. So, to me, East is the favorite. Now it's close, and I think it's probably there's going to be some scoring done in this game. I think it's going to be one of those 29-28 type of games, and I like East.
Yeah, up the road a little ways, another 5A game is Tennessee High is going to be at home, and they're playing host to Cherokee there. Of course, Cherokee, a 2-2 team in the league. They could shake things up a little bit in this conference if they're able to get a win there, but that's going to be a tall task for them, I would imagine, going up into the Stone Castle.
Well, and Tennessee High's found something. I'm not sure what it was, but they've turned their season around. What looked like it was going to be after the Boone game, I'm sure a lot of people were wondering, hey, what's the we're just going to finish this out with another. Last year was just a disaster, and it's looking like this year might pan out that way for them too. But they found it. They've got it rolling. They're doing well on both sides of the football. And this is a team Cherokee's going to have a ton of trouble with. So Tennessee High should be able to get high 30s, low 40s and points against them. And Cherokee will have a tall task trying to match that against Tennessee High's defense.
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit earlier, Happy Valley kind of struggling as of late. They're trying to come out of it against a pretty good West Green team. You know, West Green team that picked up a big win last week, playing some good football there. You know, when you're on a little bit of a losing streak, it's kind of tough to go on the road, head down and play somebody like West Green. It seems like it's going to be kind of tough for Happy Valley this week.
It is tough for them, and I'm not going to give up on the Warriors, though, because I really think that this is a game they can win. I think West Green proved me wrong last week by beating Unicoi County. So, and they played Johnson County tough earlier this year. So, I'm not taking anything away from them. I gained respect for them last week with that win over Unicoi. But this is a Happy Valley team so hungry for a win, and their season's kind of, it's kind of getting away from them a little bit. And the 4-game losing streak, in high school football, 4-game losing streaks are, usually the sign of the end coming sooner than later. So. Happy Valley really, really needs to get a win. I think they're capable. I think they've got the talent and the players to go on the road and win this football game.
The thing about high school football is, the highs, can be really high and the lows can be really low when you're dealing with high school age kids. And, if you're that coaching staff at Happy Valley, I mean, obviously, that if they were to lose this week, it would be 4 in a row. But at the same time, I mean, that doesn't affect them. They're still 2-1 in their conference and in really good shape there in terms of playoff seeding and everything else. How tough is it for these coaches to kind of keep these kids on an even keel?
Well, it's always a challenge. I mean, even some of these years, even at schools like Science Hill, where you just got a flood of athletes out there, and you're trying to get them to take things seriously and trying. And kids sometimes they don't really get the history and stuff of games. They just look at it like, okay, this is a team I think we can play with, or maybe we can play with it. I don't know. And sometimes it's very, very hard to get kids. And that's why these teams that win year in, year out, especially these football programs, that's why I have a lot of respect and admiration for coaches, because they're taking a group of kids and you're getting them all focused in one direction. And George Quarles at Maryville was the master of that. I mean, Maryville didn't beat people all those years he was there because they were always the better team. They were just always the more prepared, more cohesive team, and that can go a long way in football.
Yeah, it definitely can. Well, Doug, excellent information as usual. Good to talk to you, and you enjoy yourself out there tomorrow night.
All right, thank you, Dave. Appreciate you.
All right, appreciate you. Well, next up, we're going to have the Champion Chevrolet co-owner Andy Dietrich in here to visit with Tom a little bit. Later on, we're going to talk a little bit of Virginia Tech, North Carolina. We're going to have Chris McCall in to do that. First, we're going to take a timeout here in the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview.
Blue Lizard Australian Sunscreen originated in Australia, where sunscreen standards are the strictest in the world. Although our products are now manufactured here in the U.S., we continue to adhere to the most stringent Australian standards to offer the best in broad-spectrum sun protection. Blue Lizard, the brand most recommended by pediatricians and dermatologists. Our smart bottle turns blue in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. You bring the sun, Blue Lizard brings the magic.
Truck Month continues at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City with unbelievable savings on a selection of over 500 new Chevys to choose from. 17 Silverado Crew Cab All-Star, $11,000 off MSRP. 18 Equinox, $6,000 off MSRP. 18 Trax, $4,500 off MSRP. 23% off 17 Cruisin' Malibu. 25% off 17 Sonic and Spark LS. Shop us online 24/7 and remember our Saturday parts and service hours. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where we leave you asking, how do they do that?
Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue. Do you like pulled pork? At Phil's, the pulled pork is cooked low and slow. We cook it all night, but we serve it fast. Our pulled pork is hickory smoked, tender and juicy. We serve the pork either as a sandwich on a bun or platter style with garlic toast. And don't forget to try our pork wings. They taste like a cross between ham and our sweet ribs. It comes as a meal, as an add-on, or part of our meat sampler platters. Pulled pork and pork wings. Just two great reasons to stop by Phil's Dream Pit. Eastern Star exit off I-26, 349-6437. Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at fca.org.
We're back in on the Tom Taylor Sports Show. No, we're at the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show, and there he is. He is with us and grinning because he feels victory is imminent. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I sort of took the week off from picking last week and gave Tim a shot.
Yes.
And wanted him to feel really good about himself. And
you let him win? Is what
yeah. This week is going to be different.
Yeah. I'm afraid so. 'Cause he's pretty intense. He's ready. So he actually, to be perfectly forthright, full disclosure, he's won 2 weeks in a row, and quite frankly, he wore you out pretty good last week.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
You came home with, out of 10 picks, you came home with 2. So
yeah, I didn't study.
And I told you, we could have won money, couldn't we? We knew what he was going to say. He didn't study. He was distracted. He was on vacation. He just didn't have his mind into it.
Yeah.
He wasn't locked in. But this week, new game, right?
Right, and I know what happened too. I picked all the ones I thought, and to give Tim a shot because I knew he would pick the opposite of what I picked.
Yeah, he did.
And that's why he did so well.
Yes, he went exactly.
I figured
opposite.
it out.
Yeah, and so
because I knew he'd do that. I knew he needed to win.
We're going to give you a chance to win a free vehicle coming up here. We'll tell you how to do this coming up on January 27th. We'll talk about that in a moment. But let's get through the picks real quick. Now, these are the ones you want to take to the bank. Picking panels on Solomon South and Elizabeth. And who you pick, big guy?
I don't remember. Who'd I pick? I've slept since then.
You picked Elizabeth.
Okay.
All right.
Whatever you say, you wrote it down.
Yeah, I did. Cherokee at Tennessee High.
I picked Tennessee High.
There you go. You have the Musket Bowl, Crockett and Boone. You went with Daniel Boone.
He's recording us over there. Snapchat. Dirty dog.
Just to verify things, just in case. Cloudland at Johnson County. You took.
I said Johnson County, I think.
Yes, you did. And then Sullivan North at Sullivan East, little cross county rivalry.
I think I said East, didn't I?
You took Sullivan East and upset, which I think is what that would be. All right. In the picking panel for the colleges, Michigan at Penn State. You took.
Penn State.
Penn State. Southern Cal, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
The Fighting Irish in South Bend. You took Notre Dame.
I think I'm sneaking out over here.
He comes, and he's grinning because he's a two-time champion 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
loving it.
He's about to have it.
Yeah,
he's about to have that smile knocked off his face come Monday. Woo! Woo! He likes it.
He says, talking that smack. I like it. Oklahoma State at Texas.
I think I said Oklahoma State.
Cowboys. Kentucky at Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
I would probably not go with you on that one, but that's okay. You made that pick.
Unless Mississippi State wins.
Yes, and then you're going to be looking really good.
Yeah.
And I look like a dunce.
And I don't know. I don't have much of incentive like we did when we first started this a long time ago. You'd bring in like pumpkin pies or big bags of M&Ms. That got me excited of trying really hard to pick the right things.
All right. Since he's won 2 weeks in a row, Mr. Copenhaver, while we got a chance here, he says he would do better if there was food involved like it was last year. So
pumpkin pie or
what do you want us to
banana
play for next
pudding
week? Pumpkin pie or
pumpkin pie is let's definitely do food then, since he can't eat.
He can't eat. All right, what do you want to use? Bag of Skittles? What do you want?
Bag M&Ms.
Bag M&Ms. Plain or peanut?
Plain.
Plain M&Ms is what's at stake here. All right.
He gets $1. Get it out of the machine back there. We're going all out here at Champion Chevrolet.
We're blowing it out.
Woo.
How did they do that? I don't know how they do that.
It's a mini Las Vegas here.
It's a gambling mecca.
Oh God!
Louisville.
We're gonna come get busted here in a little bit.
Over M&Ms and $1.
Yeah.
Louisville or Florida State? You took
Louisville.
Yeah. Now that's the one that Tim really giggled. He giggled on that one pretty good. He liked that one. He said
Louisville and Florida State.
Is that not the one you giggled? No. You giggled.
No, he over the Notre Dame one. No. I think you probably giggled at all mine picks.
When you're 2-8, he giggled at everything you did. So,
yeah,
absolutely. That's why we do these tough picking. Boy, y'all see next week's picks. I've already got them. They are tough. So,
I got to fix your hat here.
Fix me.
You got fuzz.
A little fuzz on my champion ball cap.
Yeah, we got to keep you cleaned off there.
I love my champion ball cap. All right. Tell these folks how they can win. You remember who won last year? I know it was somebody from here in the immediate Tri-Cities, and I cannot remember, and Tiffany couldn't remember either, the young lady from Mountain States Foundation, but somebody was a happy camper last year.
We had a winner.
Winner, chicken dinner.
They got a car.
Okay, he's being evasive. Okay, he is winning.
You put me on the spot.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't remember what I picked, 3 hours ago with you. You want me to know who won the car?
I got you. Never mind.
A year ago.
Yeah. Oh, really? Cadillac CTS? Can the Apple Reds CTS or Red CTS? Awesome. Yeah. Now, Tiffany said she did work here in the Tri-Cities in Johnson City, but beyond that, she couldn't remember either.
Did she work for Mountain States? She
did.
She worked, okay.
Yes, she did.
And if you're a Mountain States employee listening to this, Mountain States, they offer a payroll deduct.
Yeah.
For you to buy these tickets, and that's a majority of them are bought that way. So it's a good deal and
absolutely.
good cause. 100%.
That's what I like.
100% of each $50 raffle ticket goes to Niswangers Children's Hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing comes to us. Nothing goes anywhere else, but 100%.
29 counties. They're now, thought this was cool. Tiffany was on my show earlier today. Tiffany from Mountain States Foundation. Of course, they're already tied into St. Jude's. They're kind of like a satellite hospital from St. Jude's in Memphis. And now they're also tied in as a Shriners Hospital, an affiliate, or whatever you want to call it. So, cool stuff. Niswonger Children's Hospital serving 29 counties. 100% of that $50 raffle ticket goes right to the hospital. And so the more you purchase, the merrier. She did tell me again today, a young lady who had on earlier in the show, said the state last year gave them a chance to sell 3,000. Now they bumped it up. They get to sell 4,000 this year. So
pressure is on to sell raffle tickets.
Yes. So tell me what we can win this year from Champion Chevrolet. Was this your 10th year giving a car away?
Is it 10th or is this 11th we've done a car?
I love these guys. This is like
it. You know,
Mo and Joe. I don't know. What do you think? I think it's 10th or 11th. So.
It's
love these guys. Anyway, it's been,
we used to before Chevrolet came in here and made us change a lot of stuff in the showroom. We used to have that back glass behind the sales desk, all our newspaper clippings, and I could, if you asked me that question, I could turn around because I had every single winner where they came and did photos of them for the newspaper were behind us. They came in and made us take all that down. So I can't keep track of it anymore.
So we don't know. Does somebody have a list somewhere of all the winners?
I think it's 11.
11, yeah. So 11 years they've given a car, no strings attached, not a lease, not a turn back in after 6 months. It's yours, and so
each year just the raffle part has raised between $100,000 and $150,000 a year, and that puts it way over $1 million. Just the proceeds from the raffle ticket sales have gone back to either pediatric oncology or Niswangers Children's Hospital because we refuse to let it go anywhere else but children-related things at the hospital.
Yeah, hit the bell, would you please? I love it. Now, we've had a couple of folks from here in the Tri-Cities that unfortunately had to use the facilities at Niswonger, but it was a fortunate situation because even though the child was sick, they got top top rate. They did nothing but just brag about the service they
My
got.
son's been there a couple times. It's great.
Yeah.
And then he was born in the NICU and spent 2 weeks up there.
There you go. So
And it's and I see where the money goes, and that's why we've never changed course.
Yeah. How do they do that? They just do it because they're big-hearted, and it comes back.
Well, we're blessed, and we're blessed to be in this community, and we're blessed to. We've had a great run here with over almost 11 years coming in February, and we've been able to do this and give back to the community and something we believe in, and love helping children. And because the way I look at it, children, it's different. I think if you or I get sick, get cancer, a child gets cancer, they have not lived the life you and I have lived, and I would love to have a chance to get them better so they can grow old and love life and experience everything that has to do with it. Yeah,
absolutely. Cadillac, Traverse, and a Silverado. Tell me about it.
Yep, Silverado will be a double cab, 2-wheel drive. We've got a Cadillac ATS. It's a 4-door, the smaller sedan Cadillac makes, and then also the brand new 2018 Chevrolet Traverse, all new body style inside and out. So that they pull the winning ticket out. Your choice of one of those 3 vehicles. It's that simple. It's 100% your vehicle forever. It's not a lease. It's not anything else. It's your car, and it's a great deal. And then also, they've thrown in a deal the last couple of years. Who is that? Oh, I got to give a shout out to Jimmy, one of our great customers here.
Hey,
He's
Jimmy.
listening tonight or watching.
Hey, Jimmy.
Jimmy is the man. He
Jimmy
does Jimmy does a lot of Facebook Live shows himself.
Does he really?
Yes, but like if we had him on here, we'd have to have like a 45-second delay.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah, he's
Filter's the key word.
He's extremely funny.
Yeah.
But we might be able to have him here sometime if he just stuck. No, we'd have to have maybe a 2-minute delay on Jimmy.
2-hour delay.
Yes.
Just let it get a little hot and have
But
to let it cool down.
Jimmy coached Tim's boys in football back in the day. Was that junior toppers? Junior toppers. And now he's just a great customer. Keeps coming back, and he refers his friends and family, and he always gives us shout outs on all his Facebook Live stuff that he does.
Who? Oh, really? Awesome.
Malik's dad.
Running back. Well, tell Jimmy to like and share the show. Would you do the
Hey, Jimmy, like and share the show if you know what's good for you, buddy. No, actually, no. Jimmy whooped me. I'm not. I was just kidding, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Jimmy, it's
be cool.
Yeah, please,
Make an offer you can't
please,
refuse.
please do not hurt me. I was just kidding. But yes, he's a great friend, great customer, and we appreciate him watching.
Tickets are on sale right here, and also mshfoundation.org. The event's January 27th in downtown Johnson City. You do not have to be present to win, which is really cool. So you can, anywhere you're watching this show, and it's archived, of course, between now and January 27th. Again, you can buy one. Obviously, the more tickets you buy, the better your chances of winning this vehicle. And also, Mr. Dietrich, not just a vehicle, but there's 3 other prizes.
Yeah, that's where I was going to, and then Tim had to get a sidetrack, talk about Jimmy. Jimmy here, we're trying to talk about the kids, okay?
Tim did it.
Tim did it. I guess about 2 or 3 years ago, they decided to do 3 additional prizes. That the foundation comes together and does this. After they pull the grand prize, and that's the person that wins the car, they do a second, third, and fourth drawing, and the second drawing is for $2,500 cash prize. The third drawing is $1,500 cash, and the fourth drawing is $1,000 cash. And you can come in here. I've had a lady come in last year, and she bought 12 tickets herself. I know people. It's a fact. Every single year they come in and buying for all like 5 grandkids. They put their names on them and do stocking stuffers. So you've got to be over 18 to do that, but it's a neat way to do it. And even if you don't win, you know that $50, 100% of it is going back to Nice Walkers. So
help these kids. We're talking to Andy Dietrich again. Coming up, we got Carmichael going to join us, the top 5 college football games of the week. Before I let you go, my friend, jump in there. Again, we're winding down the month, kind of, sort of. What is this, the 19th day? Yeah, so we got about, 11 days left of the month, 12 days left of the month. So what in the world's going on so far? I know Lloyd's working one, and Jay's working one, and Kristen's working one.
Yeah, we've been hopping. It started out a little slow first thing this morning, but from lunchtime on, it's been wide open here. I've gone nonstop. But I've got 6 vehicles I'll go over real quick with you. We've got $11,000 off Crew Cab 2017 All-Star Silverados, $6,000 off 2018 Equinox LTs, $4,500 off 2017 Trax 4x4s, 23% off all 2017 Cruise and Malibus, 25% off 2017 Sonic and Sparks, and $9,250 off 2017 Silverado 1500 double cab 4-wheel drive All-Stars. And it's all, you can view them all www.championjc.com. You can come here on the lot. We're at 3606 Bristol Highway on the Motor Mile, Johnson City. You like that, didn't you?
Do that again. I like
the
that.
Motor Mile.
It's like Barry White. Cross
the
Barry
Raiders.
White, Josh Turner.
The Motor Mile.
There you go.
Get on down to the Motor
Get
Mile.
on down to the Motor Mile. And you're open on Saturdays, too.
Saturdays, yes. We are open until, we always do it at the time change, but I think the Saturday before Thanksgiving is like the 28th or something like that. I may be wrong. I'm not looking at the calendar. But sales will start closing at 7 after that night. So the week of Halloween, every night going forward will be 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I think you're way off on the date. Let's see what we got.
The 31st, let's see.
There's Thanksgiving, so...
No, we're in October. Let's see. We will start right here. The 30th, we'll start closing at 7 o'clock sales.
There you go. So we'll have to move the show back to 5 to 7.
Yep.
Because you ain't going to be here at 8 o'clock. You'll be gone.
You know, I can lock you up in here, close the gates, and you can park your car outside the gate, and I'll just leave you in here.
And Dave, I'll just hand the equipment over to Dave, and he can put it in the truck.
It's easy. Easy.
Got to figure it out.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Yeah. We'll do whatever we need to do for you.
You got it. Sky's the limit for me. Not a problem. How do they do that? Quick break. We'll come right back. Are you done? I guess we're done. Everything good?
You're kicking me out. I've been getting you've got the beast on the beauties. Here before too long,
ladies and gentlemen. So she had a birthday. She's 28 years old. So
well, that's not what I said over the pager system yesterday.
Yeah, but you're problematic at times. So.
Well, David Palmer was the one that sort of stressed for me. I came in on my day off to do an announcement for her birthday over the loudspeaker because David requested me to. So
isn't that nice? Yeah. 28 years old.
Well, she's actually 24.
24. There you go. Either way.
How does she do it?
She's a nice young lady.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break, come right back. We'll talk Carmichael and Dave Angie next here on the
But if somebody pays me enough, I will tell what her age and donate to Nice Fingers Children's Hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
You would tell for a $50...
Yeah, $50 donation this evening. I would donate it, 100% of it to Nice Fingers. Call the dealership, 282-2121. Ask for Andy. Huh.
So for a $50 donation...
It's for the kids.
Yeah.
You can't argue that. Okay, you're going to commercial break. $50, 282-2121.
We'll be right back on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at fca.org.
It's Chevy Truck Month, Take 2 at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City. The savings and selection of over 600 new Chevys to choose from are at an all-time high. 1500 All-Star Crew, $11,000 off. 1715 All-Star Double Cab, $10,000 off. 18 Equinox LT, $5,000 off. 17 Traction Traverse, $5,000 off. Shop us online 24/7 and remember our Saturday parts and service hours. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where we leave you asking, how do they do that?
At American Import and Auto Repair in Johnson City, one of the 8 areas of your vehicle that takes constant continuing education is the air conditioner on your vehicle.
Well, you would think that AC would be a simple one, but it's getting to be a lot bigger than just AC. It's the management of the system, not just AC, but heat and everything. It's a lot more computer controlled than it used to be. It used to be just a little button on the dash that you pushed. Now there's all kinds of electronics involved in that. Braking systems used to be fairly simple. Now some of the newer vehicles, you have to have a computer to actually operate the braking system to make sure that it's okay after you've worked on it. Computer controlled of the engine is becoming very important. There's a lot to that. Each one of these areas, the technology is just tripled and quadrupled in the last few years. It's hard to keep up. You really need to stay in the books and know what's going on with them.
American Import Auto Repair, Johnson City, open 6 days a week. Call today at 913-3111.
From the driveways where your kids play basketball and ride their bicycles, to the parking lots at your local church or grocery store, Bracken Paving is an important part of many neighborhoods in our area. No matter how large or how small the job, Bracken strives for excellence in every service they provide. It's a foundation for a strong community. Discover the difference at Bracken Paving and Asphalt Maintenance. Give us a call or visit us online at brackenpaving.com.
Your life is always changing. You never know what shape it will take, or how your financial needs might change. But if we talk about your investments and how they can provide for you and your family, the future becomes clear. At Wells Fargo Advisors, we believe conversation leads to financial clarity. Let's start a conversation today.
Welcome back to the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview. We're going to talk about the top 5 college football games of the week this week. Pickings are a little bit slim, but that doesn't mean there's not some entertaining games out there. Of course, we've got an entertaining guy to talk to us about those games as well. Carmichael's in with us once again. Carmichael, how you doing, man?
Doing great tonight. Doing great. Got my assistant, Miss Sarah, here with me to help with the games and go over these games for this weekend.
All right, fantastic. It's definitely a few intriguing ball games on the schedule. You look at a Michigan team that, what a difference a year makes when you look at Michigan Penn State. You know, last year Michigan has them at home and completely runs them out of the big house. This year you have Penn State as a double-digit favorite at home against Michigan, and you know, looking like a very strong team offensively and defensively when you look at the Nittany Lions.
Yes, they are very balanced. This is the beginning of their really the beginning of their season coming up. They've got Michigan this week, Ohio State next week. They've got to win both games, basically, I think, to get into the Big Ten title game. And getting into the Big Ten title game then gets them into the college football playoff scene. You know, Saquon Barkley has just been amazing this year. He does it all for Penn State. They are very good. He can do it all. He can run back kicks. He can run out of the backfield, catch passes, even throw a touchdown pass this year. And it's two very good defenses. Michigan 5-1 on the season. They beat Indiana last week. Michigan's the number one defense in the country in yards per game, number 1 defense on third down efficiency, number 2 defense on yards per play, but Penn State's number 1 in the country in points allowed. So it's going to be your typical Big Ten 3 yards cloud of dust game, 2 great defenses playing against one another. I think, though, the big plays that Barkley will make will end up allowing Penn State to win the game in the end. Michigan also has to win this game if they've got any hope to get to the Big Ten title game. It's basically in their destiny's in their hands. They've got to win this week at Penn State and then hope, to get Ohio State later in the season to be able to defeat them as well.
It's Michigan obviously hasn't lived up to expectations this year, at least thus far. But I think the individual matchup this week between Barkley and Bush, Michigan's linebacker, I think those two guys, because Bush I think will be on Barkley a lot. I think that's going to be an entertaining one to watch all night long.
Yeah, because a lot of times the linebacker will maybe shadow a quarterback or something. But in this case, he's got to try to shadow Barkley because it's not just Barkley running the ball. It's Barkley maybe coming down and playing in the slot. It's Barkley maybe lining him up wide, trying to get a matchup favorable to them. And James Franklin's done a great job. Penn State's really been a team on a roll here since the end of last season, 6-0 so far this season. But it's a big game for both of them. And I mean, we're starting this week now to see elimination games for the college football playoff.
Speaking of elimination games, it's a traditional rivalry here between Southern Cal and Notre Dame, and you can make a pretty good argument this is an elimination game right here. A couple teams that have had a loss early in the season. Southern Cal, obviously, great quarterback play, going into a tough place to play at Notre Dame. Do you think that the Trojans have what it takes to go in there and get that win?
I do. Sam Darnold, over 2,000 passing yards so far. He's the top-ranked player, looks like, in the draft. Top-ranked quarterback in the country, probably, at least in the NFL Scouts' eyes. They were able to beat Utah last week. They're 6-1 on the season, but Notre Dame 5-1. Notre Dame has hung in. They beat North Carolina last week pretty well, handily. They're 5-1 on the season. It's an elimination game. The loser is probably out. After this week for Southern Cal, that's Notre Dame playing Southern Cal. Notre Dame has North Carolina State, Miami, Navy, and Stanford the rest of the way, plus a decent Wake Forest team. So if Notre Dame any chance to get into the Final Four playoffs, they got to start with a win this week and get Southern Cal. This has traditionally been one of the best games, non-conference rivalry games in college football, and I think under the lights at Notre Dame Saturday night, it's going to be another great game.
Yeah, the thing about, college football, perception plays such a big part in this. In a win or a loss early in the season can kind of change in people's eyes depending on how things unfold. You look at Notre Dame, early on they take that loss at home to Georgia, very close football game. People don't think much of it then, but that turned out to be an excellent Georgia football team. So, I think it kind of raises Notre Dame's status in everybody's eyes heading into this matchup.
And Notre Dame came back the next week and pounded Michigan State, who defeated Michigan 2 weeks ago. So this really Notre Dame got back in the eyes. You can lose that early game. You can lose that game 1-2. But now when you're sitting here at game 7 or 8, and like in Southern Cal, it's go time, as they like to say in NASCAR. It's go time, and you've got to start making your push now to get into the college football playoff.
Of course, Texas last week in the Red River rivalry, they play that other team from Oklahoma this week, Oklahoma State, a team that's kind of been tagged with a loss already. Definitely, and we're talking about kind of the theme this week. You have teams that if they lose, they're probably out of any contention for college football playoffs, and you have Oklahoma State kind of in that boat right now. Certainly a lot of motivation for them to go on the road and play well against Texas.
They do not only playing well, not only staying alive in the college football playoffs, also staying alive for a Big 12 championship. Mason Rudolph has just been amazing. 2,300 yards passing. How did he's from Rock Hill, South Carolina, how did this kid skip over places like Tennessee, Clemson, schools like that all across that were close enough to him to go all the way out to Oklahoma State and just be a passing machine out there the last 3 years? They're the number one passing offense in the country. They destroyed Baylor last week 59-16.
Yeah, I kind of get a sense with Texas, and the job Tom Herman's done there early on, albeit with Charlie Strong's players. But, it didn't take long after that Maryland loss for them to really start showing some grit and picking up their level of play. I would say if you're a Big 12 team and you want to beat Texas, this might be the year to do it.
This is going to be the year to do it because Sam Englinger, the freshman quarterback, had a great performance last week in the game against Oklahoma. Showed a lot of grit, a lot of guts. He took a shot late in the game when Texas was driving, trying to take the lead late in the game, came back in the game. Texas is playing much better defense than it did earlier in the year. And this is a team that could give Oklahoma State some trouble. If they can keep the game close, if they can keep it in at about that 30-24 or 27-23 range late, Texas has a chance to pull the upset on Saturday.
Moving to the SEC now, this is a league where, once you get past Georgia and you get past Alabama, everything's kind of a mystery. It's a week-by-week deal. You look at Kentucky, at Mississippi State. Both of these teams have done really good things. Both these teams have done some bad things, kind of along the way here. Who do you think has the upper hand in this matchup?
I think Kentucky can do it. They're going on the road. It's a tough place to play down in Starkville. It's been years since Kentucky has been, at this time of the season, 5-1. Only that 1-point loss to Florida. Kentucky's fate, the rest of their season's in their hands right now. but they've got to start with Mississippi State. If Kentucky wins out and Florida can pull the upset on Georgia, they've got a chance at Kentucky has a chance at winning the Southeastern Conference Eastern title and going to Atlanta to play in the championship game. Mississippi State 4-2 on the season. You know, they're trying to get another win, trying to where they can get maybe a New Year's Day bowl game. Mississippi State has to be able to run the ball, control the tempo. They're number 14 in the country right now in rushing offense. When they run the ball, when they control the tempo, they've had the success this year. But when they have not made some critical mistakes, they've been hammered in the couple of games. Kentucky, the key for them is their defense. They've just got to be able to slow down Mississippi State and get off the field on third down. That's the key to the game right there.
Yeah, you know, that's one thing when you look at Kentucky, they always kind of say defense travels. You know, that's one thing that can really help you on the road, and it looks like that's going to be pretty strong for them, you know. Now, talking about Mississippi State, you know, this is a game right here. It seems to me to be very important for them, and it's been the case this year for them. When they get ahead and they can run the ball and don't have to try to do too much crazy in the passing game, you know, definitely they're a team that plays better with the lead, it seems like.
Yes, make the game more manageable. Be able to run the ball on first down, keep it second and short, third and 1 or 2. Be able to move the chains and just keep control of the game that way. They're not going to really beat you with the passing game. They'll throw just enough just to keep you honest, but really they want to run the ball with their running backs and with their quarterbacks.
Yeah, and we're moving on to the last game, which really not a name brand game when you look at the teams involved in this, but possibly the most entertaining game of the week. Just a prolific offense at Central Florida, 5-0 football team coming into this one. Scott Frost, the head coach of that team, has done a phenomenal job there, and they're playing the Naval Academy with that triple option, which I love watching, and they run it well too. So it seems like it's going to be one of those weeks where a 5-1 Navy team and a 5-0 Central Florida team put on quite a show.
It could be a show, and Central Florida's balanced offensively. They're the number one scoring team in the country, averaging almost 49 points a game. They beat East Carolina last week 63-21. Central Florida maybe now has to say what might have been had they got to play Georgia Tech. You know, maybe Central Florida's in the talk when we start talking about teams for the college football playoff. Definitely in the chance for the New Year's Six bowl game because they're undefeated. If they can stay undefeated, they've got South Florida at the end of the year and also the American Conference game. Navy has always done well running that option style that they run. They're 5-1 on the season. It killed them last week. They had 5 turnovers against Memphis, lost by a field goal. They're a team that's already runs. Zach Abbey, their quarterback, he's already got over 1,000 yards rushing, 12 touchdowns on the ground, able to throw the ball a little bit, and that's what they'll have to do. Central Florida has a fairly good defense. So Navy is another team. You have to throw the ball just enough to keep the defense honest and then be able to run that option. Now, getting ready for the option, Scott Frost was a great quarterback at Nebraska back just a few years ago. He's gone out this week, put the helmet on during practice, and run the scout team for his number one defense. I mean, and the players have just fed off that, been motivated by that, seeing their coach run the offense, and they said they couldn't get ready for a team any better than having their coach be the scout team quarterback this week.
Might be the best scout team quarterback in the country right there. Scott Frost, obviously, a huge career that he had in Nebraska there.
And if he had eligibility, I know of at least several schools in the Southeastern Conference he could play at right now.
Hey, we'd take him at Michigan right now if we could to play quarterback. And of course, there's a team in Knoxville that might take him to be a head coach.
And probably yes, if they can, and it's probably, I would think, Nebraska, and you're going to have the change with Mike Riley at the end of the year. I mean, it's a no doubter in my mind, and I mean they're going to go to him with because the talk had been early in the year. Scott Frost and the coach at Navy possibly as candidates for the Nebraska job if and when I would think when it opens up.
Yeah, definitely so.
And maybe the loser of that could be a possibility at a place like Knoxville. A lot of discipline, running game, and good defense by both teams.
Yeah, that coaching talk in Knoxville I don't think that's going to slow down anytime soon, especially after this weekend, because I have a feeling it's going to be a big blowout there by Alabama. So, well, Carmichael, I appreciate your time. and your expertise too, the way you go over these games. Definitely a good primer for anybody wanting to sit down and watch some college football on Saturday, and definitely appreciate it.
I'd say if you don't want to see, if you're not going to be able to see the 3:30, the Navy Central Florida is a 3:30 CBS Sports Network game. If you don't see it, I think the second game, the entertaining game of the weekend, would be the night game, Notre Dame and Southern Cal at Notre Dame. I mean, great atmosphere for college football. Should be a great game.
Yeah, definitely a lot to watch this weekend. And again, appreciate your time.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
All right, lots of good stuff there as usual from our man Carmichael. Up next, I'm going to talk about the Big East. It's Region 1-6A football. There's 3 games on the docket this week. We'll talk about those. First, we're going to take a quick time out here on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at FCA.org.
It's Chevy Truck Month, Take 2 at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City. The savings and selection of over 600 new Chevys to choose from are at an all-time high. 1500 All-Star Crew, $11,000 off. 1715 All-Star Double Cab, $10,000 off. 18 Equinox LT, $5,000 off. 17 Traction Traverse, $5,000 off. Shop us online 24/7 and remember our Saturday parts and service hours. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where we leave you asking, how do they do that?
At American Import Auto Repair in Johnson City, one of the 8 areas of your vehicle that takes constant continuing education is the air conditioner on your vehicle.
Well, you would think that AC would be a simple one, but it's getting to be a lot bigger than just AC. It's the management of the system, not just AC, but heat and everything. It's a lot more computer controlled than it used to be. It used to be just a little button on the dash that you pushed. Now there's all kinds of electronics involved in that. Braking systems used to be fairly simple. Now some of the newer vehicles, you have to have a computer to actually operate the braking system to make sure that it's okay after you've worked on it. Computer controlled of the engine is becoming very important. There's a lot to that. Each one of these areas, the technology is just tripled and quadrupled in the last few years. It's hard to keep up. You really need to stay in the books and know what's going on with them.
American Import Auto Repair, Johnson City, open 6 days a week. Call today at 913-3111.
From the driveways where your kids play basketball and ride their bicycles, to the parking lots at your local church or grocery store, Bracken Paving is an important part of many neighborhoods in our area. No matter how large or how small the job, Bracken strives for excellence in every service they provide. It's a foundation for a strong community. Discover the difference at Bracken Paving and Asphalt Maintenance. Give us a call or visit us online at brackenpaving.com.
Your life is always changing. You never know what shape it will take, or how your financial needs might change. But if we talk about your investments and how they can provide for you and your family, the future becomes clear. At Wells Fargo Advisors, we believe conversation leads to financial clarity. Let's start a conversation today.
We're back live. Love coming over here inside the studio, inside the showroom, created by Cletus Green and Chris Bird. We're here live again at the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Again, the picking panel. You have until midnight tonight to get your name in. You know, I'm going to put out a challenge to Jimmy Bowman. Jimmy, you should be in the picking panel. You can win $25, dude. I mean, I'm telling you, it's really easy to do. Check this out. Go right here. Here's our previous winners. Eugene Jeffers of Greenville, Tracy Clark Kingsport, Brenda Byram of Elizabethton, Tony Briggs Elizabethton, Jerry McNeil Elizabethton, and 2 weeks in a row, Raymond Tankersley of Kingsport has brought home the bacon. He's won $25 2 weeks in a row. So you have until midnight tonight to pick the high school and the college picking panel. Just go to TomTaylorSports.com/football. All you got to do, again, is to give us first name, last name, the town you're from, and your email address. If you win, we can obviously get a hold of you, and that's all we need. And so it's all good. And so, again, the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show, and so that's what we're looking for. And so this week's games, and let me just go ahead. We picked earlier today. We are a two-headed monster. We went 8 for 10 last week. So if you want to ride a winner, well, the winner was Raymond Tankersley. He went 9 for 10. The only game he picked wrong last week was Tennessee, South Carolina. He took the Big Orange.
You should get 2 losses for picking Tennessee at this point. We can't take it away from him, though. He's going for the three-peat this week. So
yeah. Did you say that the points are now going up to
36?
36-point spread.
Alabama's a 36-point favorite.
Wow.
You know, I'll tell you this, and I'm not a wagering man. I would put money on 2 teams with the point spreads this week. I'd put money on Tennessee because I don't think Alabama covers that. I think they get disinterested when they're up about 28 they start fooling around. I think that'll happen. And I also would put money on Michigan. They're a double-digit underdog against Penn State. They beat Penn State by like 5 touchdowns last year. I'm telling you, that game will be close, if not a Michigan win.
Really?
Yes. It's going to be a good football game.
Wow. So you're picking the Wolverines on the road to get this one.
Well, against the spread, you know.
Against the spread, yeah. All right, so here's who we picked for the picking panel. South Elizabethton, we picked Elizabethton. Tennessee High Cherokee, we took the Vikings and the Stone Castle. Musket Bowl, Boone. Although I think it's going to be a pretty good ball game.
Yep.
Cloudland at Johnson County. We took Johnson County. Also, we have Sullivan North at Sullivan East. We took the North Golden Raiders. That's our 5 high school picks. And college, Michigan, Penn State, we both said Penn State. Southern Cal, Notre Dame, we took the Trojans from the left coast. Oklahoma State at Texas, we took the Cowboys. Kentucky at Mississippi State, we chose the Wildcats. And Louisville at Florida State, we took, not the Seminoles, we took the Cardinals on the road at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee. So if you want to winner chicken dinner, win $25, there it is. Again, that's how you do it. And so all you got to do is do the picking panel. And again, you have until midnight tonight. And of course, it stops because the high school games are tomorrow. Speaking of the high school games, we have coming up here in a few minutes, Kevin Harmon's going to talk to us about the Tennessee-Alabama game. But right now, Dave's going to jump in there, and as he does and does so well, previewing the Region 1 6A, the Big East games. There's 3. Farragut has the night off, so break him down and take off and run with the big guy.
You know that picking panel is all business because I feel really dirty picking against Michigan. I can't even tell you right now. I feel terrible.
Feel filthy.
Let's go into Region 1 6A. Very, very interesting game this week. You know, I think the biggest game of the week when you have Hardin Valley playing against Bearden. You know, this game's going to have a lot of implications here. You know, when you look at where these teams are in the standings, you have a 2-2 Hardin Valley team that's kind of holding on to that last playoff spot. You have Bearden right behind them at 1-3. You know, if Bearden wins that, they get the head-to-head matchup against Hardin Valley and have a chance to kind of steal that 4th playoff spot, which that would be huge. You know, so it's going to be a big game. I think Bearden has a puncher's chance in this one because they're a young football team and they took some losses early. You know, but I think they're getting better as the season goes on. You know, Hardin Valley's they're coming off a couple losses in a row. Who knows how that's going to affect them? You know, they've lost to Science Hill and Dobbins Bennett in consecutive weeks. I think they're the better football team. But when we talk about high school kids, we've talked about this all night. You never know how they're going to bounce back sometimes from adversity. So, very intriguing game. I think Hardin Valley has just enough to get it done, though. I think defensively and their run game, which are 2 things that when you get to this point of the season, they can take you a long way. I think they're more sound in those areas, and they're going to get the win right there. So definitely going to be an interesting matchup, though. The other 2 matchups I don't think will be as compelling. You've got Morristown West heading over to Kingsport for Dobbins Bennett. I think the Indians take care of that. Every single week this season, I think Dobbins Bennett's gotten better. I think you can look at it and you can see it. You know, they had the hiccup early against Science Hill and against Greenville. Since then, man, they've been rolling. They've been getting better, and that's a credit to Graham Clark and his staff and those kids. You know, it'd be easy to get down after losing to your rival early in the season. You know, that's the one worry about having the rivalry game that early with Science Hill and Dobbins Bennett. But they've just, they've showed some grit. They got tough. And I think they're going to have a big win this week. And I think the same goes for Science Hill in their final regular season game, as weird as it is to say. This is it for the Hilltoppers. They have a bye week next week. They have Jefferson County coming in. This game last year, I think, is what really propelled Jalen Adams into this season. I think he completed something like 18 out of 21 passes or 20 out of 22, something crazy like that. Had an excellent game throwing the football, and that just kind of propelled him into this season where he's been a huge dual threat quarterback. Obviously well over 1,000 yards through the air, well over 1,000 on the ground, and I think he's going to pick up a lot more yards this week as they get a big win over Jefferson County. And that's going to leave Science Hill with one loss. I think Dobyns-Bennett will have one loss. Farragut obviously off this week. I think all those teams end up tied, and then you get to go into the tiebreakers and figure out who's where.
Wow. Yep. So you look past this 6A, the Big East up here, look down to who they could be potentially facing in the weeks to come, and I guess looming out there would be the Maryville Rebels, right?
Yeah, they're still Maryville. It's they've dropped off a little bit this year. Obviously lost their coach who went down to Furman to be offensive coordinator, and as the Bucks found out, he can still coordinate an offense because they put some points up on ETSU in a football game down there. I believe 56 points or somewhere in that neighborhood. So definitely a great offensive mind, and it's tough to fill the shoes of a guy like Quarles there at Maryville, but they've done a good job. I mean, the program, they're not winning by the margins they were, but they really haven't missed much of a beat. They're winning football games, taking care of business. When you build a great culture like they have there, that's one of those things where it can keep itself going, and I think that's definitely the case. And so that's why when we talk about seeding here, we talk about these tiebreakers, and we talk about taking care of business and being sure you don't lose and wind up having to go on the road. You want to avoid Maryville as long as humanly possible, and the best way to do that is to get that number one seed. So, that's definitely the big concern as people look down the road. But I mean, once you get in the playoffs, there's no bad football teams left. You got to execute week in and week out. So. We're looking at some fun times ahead for sure.
Absolutely, some great football. Of course, this is week 9 tomorrow night. We ran down the schedule for you. Week 10 next week closes out the regular season, and of course the first Friday night in November, single elimination. It all gets started with the playoffs, and there's a lot of great football coming up, and a lot of good teams up here that I feel like can make some noise, get pretty deep into the playoffs this year. Can they bring home a state championship? Well, that kind of remains to be seen, but you would have to look not much further than Burley Stadium in Greenville. The Greenville Green Devils, I think, can legitimately be considered a state champion contender. Maybe Science Hill, and all the stars are lined right. Let's see, Johnson County is having a pretty good run again in their particular region 3, 3A football, Class 3A rather. So you got some teams out there from our neck of the woods that can get hot and get in a roll, and that's the name of the game. It's a 5-week season. 4 games in the state championship in Cookeville. I believe it's the first Saturday in December. So I think there's teams, a couple of the ones I mentioned, certainly Greenville, I think go back, and they've won it here recently, and I think they can go back and do it again.
Yeah, Greenville's a team that I think has a very excellent shot when you're looking at realistic state championship contenders. Greenville, man, and they'll be the odds-on favorite next year if they wind up doing it this year, because they get just about everybody back, which is scares the daylights out of me and pretty much everybody else, because that's going to be a really good football team. I think it is positive to have a football team that good up in this area, though, because it makes everybody raise the bar a little bit. You got to have teams like that in your area, I believe, in order for all the other teams around there to kind of raise their game up a little bit. Intriguing matchup, talking about playoffs. Do Science Hill and DB run into each other there in the playoffs early on, and what does that game look like now with where both teams are? I mean, not taking anything away from Stacey Carter, because that team's played, Science Hill's played at a high level all season long, but I think Dobyns-Bennett's got a little bit better along the way, and that game was a tussle as it was early on in the season. So definitely would be a barn burner if those two were to mix it up in the playoffs. So a lot to look forward to for football fans. In a way, the season's kind of winding down. At this point, we're looking at the last couple of weeks of the regular season, but in another way, it's just starting to crank up, because once you get into the playoffs, there's a lot of teams around here with big aspirations. We have some good football teams that have an eye on going a long way down the road, and that journey will start here just right around the corner.
I was trying to find the bracketings while I was looking for my satchel, and I inadvertently left it at home. But there's a chance that DB and Science Hill could rehook up again and replay each other, as it would be also in 4A football, the Greenville and Elizabeth. And so, but that remains to be seen. I guess right now you got to get to the game 9 tomorrow night, and then week 10 next week, and then just see how things are sorted out. And we'll be right here, by the way. Someone asked me today how long we're going to go into this, keep the show rolling. I would Well, that'll be based on what Mr. Dietrich and Mr. Copenhaver say, but I would assume we get into the playoffs and see. I would think we'd go as far as some of these teams will go and kind of follow them each week, but that remains to be seen. But definitely will be here next week, and for the next couple of weeks, I believe, in the playoffs. So it's all good. Quick break. We're going to go to a guy that's got a tough job tonight. He's got to put a positive spin on a Tennessee football team heading off to Tuscaloosa, 36-point underdog.
36 as of right now.
Smokes.
If you're watching this Friday morning, it might be 37, but right now it's 36.
36-point spread right now for this football team for Butch Jones, which is incomprehensible, I think, if you're a Tennessee fan. But we'll see. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back, and we will talk Tennessee football with Kevin Harmon as we get the update, the very latest on the Big Orange going to Tuscaloosa to battle what I call the juggernaut, the Alabama Crimson Tide, here on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at FCA.org.
It's Chevy Truck Month, Take 2 at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City. The savings and selection of over 600 new Chevys to choose from are at an all-time high. 1500 All-Star Crew, $11,000 off. 1715 All-Star Double Cab, $10,000 off. 18 Equinox LT, $5,000 off. 17 Traction Traverse, $5,000 off. Shop us online 24/7 and remember our Saturday parts and service hours. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where we leave you asking, how do they do that?
At American Import Auto Repair in Johnson City, one of the 8 areas of your vehicle that takes constant continuing education is the air conditioner on your vehicle.
Because what it tells the customer is we care enough to get certified, not in one certain area of cars. You have to be certified in 8 different certifications, in 8 different tests you have to take, and you have to be updated on them yearly to make sure that you're up to date. We not only have one of those, we have 3 ASE Master Technicians here, with the ratio, goes into a ratio, and we're a Blue Seal shop, so it tells you that we care about training and we care about knowing about your car. We want to help fix it right.
American Import Auto Repair, West Market Street, Johnson City, home of the free loaner car program. Open 6 days a week. Call today, 913-3111.
Hi, I'm Rob Cole with Bays Mountain Park. There's something for everyone at Bays Mountain Park. Whether you're an outdoor enthusiast or simply looking to get away and relax, Bays Mountain Park in Kingsport, Tennessee is the perfect destination. For only $4 per vehicle, enjoy 3,500 acres of breathtaking scenery, featuring 40 miles of hiking trails, wildlife habitat, one of the Southeast's premier planetariums, and much, much more. For more information, please visit www.baysmountain.com or call us at 423-229-9447. Bays Mountain Park, one of the Tri-City's best places for learning, leisure, and recreation.
If you're catching some waves or just playing in the yard, it is important to protect yourself. You may not feel the sun's heat, but UV rays can still damage your skin even in cloudy weather. Blue Lizard Sunscreen, recommended by pharmacists and dermatologists nationwide. Our SPF 30+ formulations use only the highest quality ingredients for broad spectrum protection. As a reminder to protect yourself, our bottle turns blue when UV light is present. Blue Lizard, we've got you covered.
Your life is always changing. You never know what shape it will take, or how your financial needs might change. But if we talk about your investments and how they can provide for you and your family, the future becomes clear. At Wells Fargo Advisors, we believe conversation leads to financial clarity. Let's start a conversation today.
back on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Thanks for being with us. Let's go to the phone. He's there, our buddy Kevin Harmon with us talking Tennessee football. Good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well, Tom. I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you loud and clear. 36-point underdog, we've been told now. Tennessee, it's up to 36 points. They head off to Tuscaloosa. And what in the world do we do if you're a Tennessee fan to get this win? Can we do it? What's the outlook of this football game?
You know, that's very sad. You know, we were 36-point favorites over Indiana State. You know, kind of put it in perspective.
Wow.
You know, what can we do to win the football game? You know, the way I break it down, we've only got one advantage, and our punter's better than their punter. You know, when you look at the way Tennessee runs the football with John Kelly, Alabama's number one in the SEC in run defense. It's going to be hard sledding. They're going to do what South Carolina did. They're going to box the line of scrimmage, and they're going to make Garantano throw the football and beat them. I think Vanderbilt only had 40 yards rushing. Florida State had 40 yards rushing. And Arkansas last week got 27 yards against Alabama.
27 yards
So
rushing.
it's going to be
That's
tough
it?
to run the football game. For Arkansas. Yeah. You know, Arkansas is 27 yards against Alabama.
Wow.
And Alabama beat Ole Miss 66-3. You know, it's well, I don't. You know, when Tennessee throws the football, you know, Alabama's going to come after them with a pass rush. Last year, Alabama had 54 sacks. They've already got 20 this year. It's going to be hard to block them and keep them out. So Garantano's going to have to get rid of the ball quick. He's going to have to throw it outside. He's going to have to do a lot of quick patterns. I don't know if our line can really stand up to the Alabama pass rush. And then when Alabama's got the football, I mean, they're averaging 302 yards a game. And since the year 2007, only one SEC team, and that was Auburn in 2013, averaged 300 yards a game rushing the football.
Wow.
Georgia 294 on Tennessee. Alabama's got a better running attack
again this week after being out with an injury. So, yeah, it's hard for me to see them finding a way to really circle the wagons and find that confidence that it takes to go in there and have that swagger to go in and score points against Alabama and get stops against Alabama. So it could get ugly.
We sit there and talked last week that they cannot afford to lose to South Carolina, and they did, obviously, 15-9. Of course, that last drive was just apparently. I mean, I went back and watched the highlights, and I mean, I sit there and watched about 4 or 5 times. I thought, what are they doing? And who is running the show in Knoxville to pull those kind of plays? You have it down there, on the 2 or 3 yard line after the pass interference. You can't hammer it in. Didn't even go to John Kelly. You threw the ball, and I'm thinking this is like a replay of the Florida game in a roundabout way, or maybe in a literal way. So I'm thinking, okay, who's on first here in Knoxville? This football team. If you're John Curry, we talked about this earlier in the week. Some of the other folks on the show, the guests. I want to get your take on this, and we're going to wrap this thing up. Chris, by the way, is with some folks upstairs, which is good. That means commerce is happening here at Champion, so he may not get down there to do the Virginia Tech game preview. I don't know if it makes a difference or not. North Carolina's, 1-6, and an injury-riddled football team, so the Hokies ought to have their own way on Saturday. And they, I see. He may be coming. I'm been ready for you. Come on down, Bubba. So he will wrap up the show. That's good. All right, so you're John Curry. You've been hired on as athletic director from Kansas State. You want to make a good showing. Hart went out with some controversy surrounding him. Obviously, the athletic director, some folks didn't like what he was doing. All right, you got Butch Jones front and center, woefully underperforming. You have decommit recruits. Yeah. You've got Alabama coming. I think it's going to be a tough game next week up in Lexington against Kentucky. So, do you pull the plug? Let's do some scenarios. They go down there for Saturday and just get it handed to them, which I think is what's going to happen. Or they go down and make it close. I don't think you're going to win. What does John Curry do? Does he play out the string? Does he go ahead and pull the plug and bring Brady Hoke in as an interim coach that's already on the Tennessee staff, or somebody else? You're John Curry. What are you going to do?
Here's the one thing you got to learn from your history. And the thing with Tennessee, when Kiffin left, of course that was out of their control when Kiffin left. when he took off, they went through a bunch of coaches, and it kept falling down further and further and further. And next thing you know, it seems like a good idea to put Dooley on the plane and bring him to Knoxville. So the one thing you want to be sure you do is you don't fire Butch Jones unless you have somebody, and they can have these conversations. And I would guarantee it's going on right now, because all of these coaches have agents. You're reaching out to Chip Kelly, you're reaching out to Frost, although I believe he'll end up at Nebraska and he won't take the Tennessee job, but that guy would be ideal. That would be a coach that Tennessee fans would love. It's unfortunate Nebraska's in the situation they're in, because if things were solid at Nebraska and they've never fired Bo Pelini, I think you get Frost up here and you start winning football games pretty quick. But be that as it may, whoever you have in mind, you're talking right now, you're going to have a deal in place, and you do not fire Butch Jones until you have somebody else ready to get on that plane and come in and do the press conference. Because at this point, with how unsettled it's been, it's no guarantee which coach will come, which one won't. You don't want to end in a situation where you get rid of Butch Jones and then you have to settle for a coach that may not be one of your top 5 choices. Because if you do that, you've really upset recruiting. The one thing Butch Jones can do is get talent in here. You know that. I mean, the cupboard is not bare. They've got talent. You just want to bring somebody in who can coach the talent up to the next level and continue recruiting at the level they're on. So, yeah, it's like my dad told me when I first started working at the Chick-fil-A back in the day. He said, son, I'm proud of you for having a job. He said, here's the one thing you need to know. You can quit your job anytime, but you don't quit a job until you have another job. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes the other way, too. You don't fire your coach until you have another coach, not in this day and age.
Good point. Never thought of it that way. It's a very excellent point. There you go. And so my man Dave Angie nails it. We're going to take a quick break, and our final break, and if he can come back, Chris McCall and talk about the Hokies, great. If not, we'll wrap this thing up. We'll be right back to the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Again, we're here, obviously, inside the studio inside the showroom here at Champion Chevrolet, where the 2018 tracks are $4,500 off MSRP. Here he comes. He's ready to go. $4,500 off MSRP. Come on over at this point. Just come on in. We want to take a break.
I'm at the end of the...
Just slide in the seat. Yeah, so what was funny, I'll let him get his headsets on, the line of the night was, we were told you were up there closing a client, and so that's great. They're closing a customer. That's the name of the game. So Tim was still here, and Andy said, well, hey, if he can't come down, I'll just come down and do the Virginia Tech preview. Tim's behind him going,
don't do that.
No.
You could have called Cletus. That would have even been better.
Andy said, no, I can really come talk about the Hokies, and Tim's going,
don't do that.
No, he's sitting behind him going, no.
That would have been good. You should have done that, Tom.
Well,
I hate that. You had to wait for me.
Well, no, man. Commerce comes first. I know that. I expect that. I want that. So I want you to come down every time and say, I can't come down here because you're closing one. What'd you got? What'd you just close out on the sale?
2015 GMC Sierra.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Nice car. Certified pre-owned, 172-point inspection.
You've been busy this afternoon.
We have been busy this afternoon.
Yeah.
So.
What are some of the other ones you sold?
Well, we've got a new, I think I delivered a truck, SS Chevrolet, a couple of used cars. I mean, I've probably done 6 or 7 cars since 5 o'clock, so it's been busy.
Oh, that's what we want.
Yes, sir.
How do they do that? Well,
amen.
They do it because they're awesome. The #1 Chevy dealer in the state. You got great guys in there like Lloyd and Jay and Pig. Pig's gone, and no, Pig's right over.
He's still here.
He said, "When's the dummy segment coming on?" So
you should have got him in here to talk if you wanted a dummy segment. That would have been perfect.
When's the dummy? He said, "When's the dummies for football segment?" Well, it's here. That's us. The Hokies 5-1, hosting North Carolina 1-6 in the conference. Let's run down the schedule. Miami 3-0, or not the schedule, but the record. Miami 3-0, Virginia 2-0. Virginia's 2-0. Wow.
In the conference, they sure are.
Georgia Tech 2-1. The Hokies 1-1. Duke 1-3. Pitt 0-3. And North Carolina 0-4. Hokies have got them coming in there again in Blacksburg on Saturday. It's a beat-up football team. Kickoff, I believe, is going to be at 3:30.
It is.
It is 3:30 on ESPN2. They're 1-6. Hokies 5-1. Preview it for me.
Well, they've sold it out. I saw today that it is sold out. We haven't had too many good afternoon games up there at Blacksburg so far this year, so I believe everybody's excited about seeing them play. North Carolina's just had a pretty rough year. I mean, that's an understatement, right?
Lots of injuries, too.
Lots of injuries. Kind of came out of the gate hard with injuries, didn't they? And just can't seem to recover. So it's a game that Tech should win. I don't know what the line is on it. I didn't get a check to look at it today, but it's got to be pretty significant. Going to be it's a good battle. Still North Carolina, still an ACC clash. I think when they come in there, they're going to be ready to play like they are every week, I'm sure. Looking down the schedule some this morning, looked like North Carolina, they haven't got blown out in every ball game by any means. So you never know what's going to happen. Like I say every week, that's why they play on Saturday afternoons.
Absolutely. We're talking to our buddy Chris McCall. So the Hokies get ready to battle the North Carolina Tar Heels, and so it's a game that they should win and gear up for the next round. And who do they have left on the schedule?
Well, of course, we've got Miami, which is playing great football. Virginia has been a surprise for everybody so far this year. They've only lost one game. They're doing really great. So we're anxious to see what's going to happen with those two schools. Maryland, where's the schedule, Tom? Don't you have that somewhere?
I can.
But they have Miami.
Some over on the window. So Virginia Tech has played one team and got beat. Wasn't even close. So he's not a big Hokie fan apparently.
We don't pay much attention to Pig here. His name is Pig. Does that tells you anything?
Did you hear what he said? Prove me wrong.
His name is Pig.
He has thrown down the gauntlet. All right, after this, let's run down the rest of the schedule for the Hokies. They go to Miami. So they got Duke at home next week.
Right.
Then they head to go to Miami, go to Georgia Tech, come back home to Pitt, and to wrap things up, Thanksgiving weekend, rivalry weekend in Charlottesville on a Friday night at Virginia.
Always a good one.
Oh, yeah. So Duke, which is Cutcliffe, there's rumors one of the guys we're talking about coming back to Tennessee when Jones is booted out would go get David Cutcliffe, bring him back.
Probably not a bad pick for Tennessee.
Yeah, so Duke. Then we go on the road, the Hokies at Miami and at Georgia Tech, two tough ones. Come back on the Pitt, they're tough. Could be a trap game. Wrap things up at Virginia, who's obviously very, very much improved. So they got a lot of tough football ahead of them.
That's right. That game with Bronco at the end of the year, of course, it doesn't matter how Virginia's record's been when that final game comes up at the end of the year. That's always a slobber knocker. Always a good game. Always a close one. Seen those games where teams would have great records that year that Chris Slade and all that bunch played in 89 or 90. And, they were going to the Orange Bowl, Virginia was, and Tech beat them the last game of the year. You just don't know. But I'm looking forward to that one. I think it'll be a good game.
All right. Tell us again, as the finance manager here again at Champion Chevrolet, is there anybody you can't buy? Can everybody be bought here?
We can get something worked out for everybody. Something can be worked out for everyone that comes in here.
Yeah.
I don't know what the stipulations may be, but we can make something come together, and we can give them an idea of what we can make work before they leave. So.
Yeah. How many financial institutions you work with?
Oh, gosh, 20 some easy altogether if you look at them. So we try not to have, a lot of places will have 50 or 100, but there's no reason to do that, really. We've got one bank, 10 banks do the same thing it does, so we kind of try to get the banks that are going to do a specific thing. So that gives us the best opportunity to get any kind of situation worked out.
And some will jump out there and help some that are in financial trouble a little quicker than others, right?
We sure can. We've got those secondary lenders that are after that kind of customer and can help those people. So if you're after something and you've had some rough hits to your credit, don't worry. Come on by. We'll see if we can't make something happen for you and get you in a new vehicle.
And as Tim says, how do they do that?
How do they do that? My impersonation, my Tim
Copenhagen. One more time.
How do they do that?
I'm going to wrap it up right here. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where Tim Copenhagen says,
how do they do that? How do they do that? He's lost a lot of weight, though. I'm not going to be able to stand in for him. He is getting slim.
I'm telling you, he's 30-some pounds.
Must be doing some push-ups or something, too.
Push-ups, pushing away from the table.
That's right. I hope he does good.
What he's doing.
That's right. That's right.
We all could I can't speak for you. We can all stand and lose a little weight. So
amen.
So there we go. But anyway, Hokie.
Hi.
Hokie.
Hi. That's right.
Who's our buddy in Bluefield?
Dewey. By the way, won last week, 4-3.
Way to go, Dewey. Bluefield College, Ramblin' Ram.
That's right. The statue's coming up. I keep telling him, but he's doing great. So
that's awesome. Appreciate him watching. And again, your daughter and your son, say hello to them too, please.
Josh and Maggie.
Yep.
Love you. See you tomorrow. They're coming home tomorrow, so I get to see them both this weekend.
There you go.
That's my babies.
My
babies.
There you go. That's his babies. Good job, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. We're going to wrap this thing up. Let's get him over here. Our buddy again, Dave Onge. We're at the appropriate time at 8 o'clock. That's when they're going to say, let's get out of here. And I totally agree with that. It's been a great show. It's been a great day and a beautiful day here in the hills of East Tennessee. So, Dave Angie, what do you want to wrap us up with, my friend?
What a great bunch of guests tonight. I learned a lot. I mean, that's what's fun about this. I come in here and I know what's going on all weekend with football, high school into college. So if you missed any part of this show, don't fret, because it is taped, it is archived. You can just go to the Tom Taylor Sports Show Facebook page and you can watch the whole thing from the beginning and learn what I learned. And remember to like it and share it. That's the big thing.
You got it. Thanks again to Doug Fritz talking high school football. Chris McCall just now with the Hokie preview. Carmichael, the top 5 college football games of the week. Kevin Harmon said all we needed to say before he lost his phone call that Tennessee's in a world of hurt, 36-point underdogs, and understandably so. We get that. Our buddy, of course, Andy Dietrich, the co-owner of Champion Chevrolet, and, of course, our co-host of the show, Dave Angie. Again, as he said, like it and share it. Let folks know that's out there, and of course it continues to grow, and we're in our infancy here. It's our first year, so the name of the game is to tell everybody about it, and you do. And guys like Jimmy Bowman and ladies like Kim Witherspoon and some other folks, again, that have already said they're watching the show and like it. So like it and share it. And as he said, you can go back and watch it tomorrow. Go back and watch it anytime, but certainly go back and watch it tomorrow before all the high school games tomorrow night and the college football games on Saturday. So back in it next week.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, love it. Love working with this guy. Week 10 of the high school season, the final week of the regular season. Where's the season gone? I mean, here it is. And then also week number 7 or 8 again of the college football season. So it is a busy, busy time and a fun time. So we'll do it again, as we said, next Thursday. Tomorrow we'll be on the road to Max Medicine Mart during the day, the 11 to 1 Tom Taylor Sports Show, show number 618 tomorrow. We'll be there for their 28th anniversary of their SALE celebrations. We'll be there tomorrow. We'll greet you from there tomorrow, talking NASCAR, talking to Sean Whitten of Elizabethton High School. Got a lot of guests lined up tomorrow for that particular show. It's an all-sports show. This one, of course, not primarily high school and college football. So for Dave Angie, this is Tom Taylor telling you we're out of time. We sincerely thank you for yours. So we'll greet you tomorrow at 11 o'clock from Max Medicine Mart in Kingsport. We'll tell you, win or lose, be a good sport. So long, everybody.